This morning I watched Turning Red and I took about 4 pages of notes of all the positive and negative things that I saw in the movie. And in this video, I'm going to tell you and list off for you all the different sexual references that I saw in the movie. So if you're watching Turning Red, you should know that this whole storyline is about a 13-year-old girl named May who is entering into puberty. But instead of them talking about going through a period, the attention is quickly shifted away into talking about having an inner red panda, this inner beast that comes out that kind of represents your hormones and high emotions that come with puberty. So right when Mei discovers this inner beast that she has, she wakes up and she's like a red panda. There's a couple references. The mother thinks that she's having a period and she tells her daughter, things like you got to protect your delicate petals and clean them regularly, asking if this red flower had bloomed or, things like that. Probably the most inappropriate thing in the film about sexuality, in my opinion, is the scene of Mei hiding under her bed and drawing pictures of boys not wearing clothing or like not wearing a shirt. And while she's drawing it, you can see she's panting, she's breathing heavily, she's sweating, and she's just feverishly drawing these pictures of boys. Now that's a really weird scene to watch, and it's definitely not a scene I'd be comfortable watching with my children. Also, throughout the film, you'll hear multiple references to like the lyrics of a popular song where they say, "They don't turn my tummy like you do, and I'll never not be your ride." So you can, use your judgment as to whether or not those are sexual references, but it does seem like they're talking about sexual attraction when they're talking about, their tummy turning when they see each other. So Mei hangs out with a few of her girlfriends regularly, in fact, kind of lie to their parents, and they lie to them repeatedly to kind of raise money to go to a boys' concert. And so one of the friends of Mei says, "My parents called this music stripper music." And then she's like, "What's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with stripper music?" In another part of the movie, Mei is trying to daydream about a boy he doesn't have a shirt, he's like a mermaid boy, in order to make her panda come alive. In another section of the video, you've got Mei and her 3 girlfriends sitting on bleachers in a stadium looking at boys who are exercising, playing sports, and they're commenting on their features. Like one comment, it's kind of funny because I think she said like delts for days, like deltoids for days. Anyway, it was just kind of a funny comment, but I mean, they're remarking on the physical features and they're checking the boys out. They're kind of showing and reinforcing this idea that it's okay to check out people of the opposite gender and comment on their physical features. And I don't know about you, but I think that's highly disrespectful. This movie, though, seems to normalize that behavior. There's one part of the movie where Mei and her friends are at this big birthday party that they're throwing. Now, she had kind of made amends with, her grandma or her mom, and she had kind of decided in her mind that, I'm not going to become a panda anymore. It's going to hurt my family too much. It's too dangerous. They've told me not to. So she goes in this party dressed up in a costume, and they're not buying it. They want her to actually turn into a panda. And then after about a minute, she decides to turn into a panda and give in to her natural self. And she says something along the lines of, doing this once won't hurt. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really like the idea of reinforcing the message in my kids' minds that like doing something bad once won't hurt. Whether that's sexual or whether that's drugs or anything else, I don't like that concept of morality that, just once more won't hurt anyone. I think that's a very dangerous message. Probably the climatic scene of the entire film is when the father is talking to his daughter Mei, and the father is portrayed as probably the nicest, most, respected kind of character. He's so respectful to his wife and to his daughter and his mother-in-law. And he says to Mei, "People have all sorts of sides to them, Mei, and some sides are messy. The point isn't to push the bad stuff away, it's to make room for it." The kind of climatic message, in my opinion, of the entire movie is this idea of not trying to overcome or control these, negative urges that you might have, but to make room for them in your life and to live with them. And to me, that just, that sounds very twisted and highly, highly dangerous message to send to children. I mean, it basically sounds like you're trying to give children a license to do anything they feel the urge to do, sexually or otherwise. There's a part of the film where the mother and the daughter are having an epic battle. And during this epic confrontation between mother and daughter, Mei Mei says, I like boys, you know, I like loud music, I like gyrating. From my count, there was 4 times in Turning Red where they had kind of close-ups of a bottom shaking or some sort of gyration. Probably the most suggestive dancing that I saw was when there was a boy in like the high school or the middle school who was making fun of Mei and like pretending to kiss and like do very suggestive actions. Toward the end of the movie, you have the mother who says something that to me is very startling. She's talking about the inner beast inside of Mei, and she's saying, don't hold back for anyone, you know, including herself. And that the farther you go, the prouder I'll be. So the more you pursue this inner beast that you have and give into it, and the farther that takes you, the more proud I'm gonna be. And then the very last quote of Turning Red is of Mei narrating the following. She says, we've all got an inner beast, and a lot of us never let it out. But I did. How about you? So you're being invited all throughout this film to consider, what kind of inner beast do I have? What kind of urges do I have? What kind of passions do I feel that aren't accepted by my traditions? And how can I explore those? How can I express them? How can I let them out? Now, I feel like that's a super dangerous message. So obviously there's quite a few sexual undertones, you know, to the urges and things expressed in this film. There's not a lot of things being explicitly shown. For the most part, all the characters are super duper modest, except for, you know, the boys that are being drawn without shirts. But the characters look very modest. They don't really have revealing clothes on. I just wanted to make you aware as a parent what kind of sexual references are made in Turning Red, so you can take that into consideration as to whether or not it's something that's appropriate for your children to watch. If you want to see more movie reviews like this one, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.